Welcome to Mama, Don't Take My ARD Away, a short presentation on how I use BlueSky and a Docker container to administrate remote Macs for certain things that don't work well, or at all, with screen recording apps like Splashtop and TeamViewer. In the beginning, there was just the office LAN, and every computer was local. It was easy to use Apple Remote Desktop to control all the computers on the local subnet. But these days, work-from-home computers are dispersed to the four winds, and trying to control them is like playing a game of whack-a-mole. They each have separate public IP addresses and routers, and as such, they can't be reached by Apple Remote Desktop. However, we have lots of tools to take its place, like TeamViewer, ConnectWise Control, Splashtop, and LogMeIn, to name just a few. But these tools are unlike ARD and can't help us when the computer is at certain stages. They won't take over when the computer is in the middle of Setup Assistant, and they're not that useful if you have to run Migration Assistant from a remote location. In particular, if you create a new user, you're going to have a problem. And sometimes you do have to create a new user at a remote location, and no one's going to be there to enable the screen recording privacy policy with a physical mouse click. That's where ARD is still excellent. It can control the remote screen in any of these situations. And with ARD/screen sharing, you can easily remotely click and turn on screen recording privileges and use your tool of choice. You can continue in ARD or use your tool of choice, but ARD can't take over anything that's not on the local LAN. However, I'm told that Adigy's live desktop feature can. The problem is Precursor is not an Adigy shop. But as Adigy user AJ Petrebka pointed out to me, live desktop is essentially BlueSky. BlueSky, as you might recall, was a method of using SSH and VNC to control computers that Brian Best marketed from Mac MSP. And Mac MSP, I think, went to Logic Now and then to SolarWinds, and eventually BlueSky itself was made open source and put up on GitHub for all to enjoy. I decided to give it a try. BlueSky establishes and maintains an SSH tunnel initiated by your client's computer to a BlueSky server. Because of this, no port forwarding is required, and the BlueSky installer turns on SSH sharing for only one invisible BlueSky user, not anyone else. The tunnel allows two connections to come back to the computer from the server, SSH and VNC. These SSH and VNC services on the computer are the ones provided by the Sharing Preferences pane. But the Logic Now repo is no longer maintained. Fortunately, Stephen Boyle has kept it going at his Sven13 repo. And there is also a BlueSky channel on the MacAdmin Slack that is most helpful. Following the wiki, you can create your own BlueSky server, and when you click on the admin button, voila, you can see all the computers with BlueSky on them. The first step is to establish the SSH connection. And then you can VNC, i.e. you can use Apple screen sharing through the SSH tunnel. You can host BlueSky on your own, or you can put it up on a droplet on DigitalOcean or Linode. I tried making one manually, but no matter what version of Linux I tried, in the end it always had issues. It turns out, however, that there's a much easier method to establishing the server. Just use Docker. The instructions are easy to follow. It only takes a half an hour or less and is guaranteed to work. All you need is the smallest droplet available for $6 a month, and you can even choose a Docker one right from the outset. The functioning Docker server has buttons to click to download a fully functioning pre-built BlueSky client in an easy-to-deploy package. I just imported that into Monkey, and it was easy to deploy to any computer that I manage. To make sure it can be removed properly, I created a Monkey no package script that makes sure all the parts get removed. And to make it monkey-rific, I thought, why not make a Monkey report module with the please make module command? It was easy. And now we have just enough time for a pre-recorded demo. Here's the BlueSky window. To connect to the MacDevOpsYVR21 computer, I first type the username and password into the terminal window that's activated and establish the SSH tunnel. Then I click on the VNC screen sharing and I put in a name and password, and I'm going to take over the screen for Monsieur X. There he is. Let's type in his password, and since if I would have done this by Splashtop, I'd be SOL because screen recording is not enabled. However, because I'm in with BlueSky, I can easily take care of that for him. And I can continue controlling Matt's computer via BlueSky or with my tool of choice. So thanks to the stellar work of people like Brian Best and Stephen Boyle, Greg Nagel and Arjen van Bochoven, and John Eberly, and with some suggestions from guys like AJ Petrebka and Kevin Ginger, even a dummy like me can still remotely manage Macs despite the restrictions of the privacy policy world we live in. Here's a few of the key resources all on one page. Thanks for listening. Slides and reference materials are available at precursor.ca/slides.